Hello and welcome to today's edition of Sapita Show. Today we reflect on the theme Presidential Election 2023 and Nigeria's search for competent, responsible leader. And with me here to discuss this is Reverend Father Professor Philip Ogbonna. Professor Ogbonna is a Catholic priest of the Declaration Missionary. He's a professor of philosophy in Imo State University, Owerri, and the Declaration University of Nigeria. He's equally a visiting professor at Jordan University, Morogoro, Tanzania. He has bagged more than 40 international awards and recognitions. And he's the founder of anti-court organization, Peace on Campus, Imo State University, Owerri. He is also the founder of the Philosophical Academic Society, the Shoren Kierkegaard International Academic Society of Nigeria. And currently, he is the Dean of Student Affairs, Imo State University, and a pioneering figure in philosophic and leadership studies. Join me in welcoming the professor. Professor, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, let's dive right in. In 2019, you authored a book, The Art of Leadership. What's your notion of the art of leadership?
Thank you for this question. That book came as a result of the circumstances, because there is a search for a leader. We have been having rulers, not leaders, because leadership has its own merits and what makes a leader. Leadership also. You remember, even when you go to the scriptures, the distinction between the leader and the ruler is there. The ruler, when Israel was looking for a king, Samuel told him that the leader you are talking of, the king you are talking of, will lord it over you. He will take the best of your things, the best of your land, the best of your cattle, the best of everything. The leader will not do that. So if you consider our situation, we have been having rulers, not leaders in Nigeria, because leadership is an art. Leadership is an art. It involves doing something. It is the art of motivation, because the leader motivates, motivating a group of people to act towards achieving a common goal. Well, in this setting, political or business settings, there are leaders for each of these. The business leader may not perform well as a political leader, and the political leader may not perform well as a business leader. Whatever the case, leaders direct, because leaders have followers. Leaders have followers, not fake followers. And having followers is also a challenge. You need to have your strategy to meet the requirements of the followers. That is important. And leadership must capture the essentials of being able to prepare and inspire those followers and others, not just those followers. So in leadership, we must prepare to satisfy and direct and inspire. That is why effective leadership is based upon ideas, both original ideas and borrowed ideas. We must combine them. If a leader has no original idea, he will not be able to communicate And if he relies on borrowed ideas, that will not make him original. And that will now lead us to who is a leader. So those are circumstances. A leader is one who inspires and motivates action. Action is important. Having a can-do personality. Can-do personality. And strong leadership skills is the key to leading to a change. Because a leader must lead to a change. So from this, you see that we have not even had leaders in this country. We have people who claim to be leaders. We have not had any. A leader is one who inspires both followers and others to act while simultaneously directing the way that they act. This is involved in leadership. A leader is personable enough for others to follow. He is personable. He is a person, not an idea. Personable enough to others to follow. To follow his others, because there are times he must give others. Is also equipped with critical thinking skills. The leader must have critical thinking skills to know the best way to use their resources at an organizational disposal. If he doesn't have that, then there are the wastes everywhere. There are people who seem to be naturally endowed with more leadership abilities than others. We don't doubt that. And anyone can learn to become a leader by improving on particular skills. A leader emphasizes innovation, rationality, and control. Innovation, because you cannot remain the same. Rationality, you must be rational. Sane enough. We have been having mad leaders. Either mad and being overzealous or underperforming, not balanced. That rationality balances you, and control, especially self-control, is important. The people who have been having as leaders are interested in controlling others, not controlling themselves. But for you to control others, you must have a self-control. Otherwise, you cannot even achieve controlling others. And so, that leads us to the next thing you mentioned by saying, how does a leader work? In all spheres of human endeavor, in business, in politics, in education, in health, leadership is linked to performance. The first thing is performance. And any leader, any leadership definition must include this performance, putting into account that leadership in all spheres is not intrinsically linked to profit. Nobody is asking you about profit as a leader. It's not a business cooperative and not business context. It has the leadership role may be terminated when it does not meet that expectation. The expectation is performance. That is why if it does not lead to it in any aspect of leadership, it needs to be terminated. Just as the leadership we have now needs to be terminated because we are lacking the ingredients of leadership. Leadership requires traits that extend beyond the management duties. Leadership requires more than management duties. And that is why we say leader also is not just a manager, but it includes managing the resources at his disposal, not in a business form, A manager, as I said before, may not be a leader, and a leader may not be a manager because of the threats of leadership. A leader must inspire those who follow him. Can any of our leaders inspire us?
I don't think so.
Now, look at the people who say are leaders. They are rulers anyway. Can they inspire us? Which means they are not leaders. Must inspire those who follow him. People who follow the ones who are calling leaders are sycophants because they don't tell them the truth. They are not performing, they are not doing well. That's why those who are leading us must go back to themselves and do a self-search to see whether these qualities are there. The leader provides a new perspective to make people abandon the narrow field of endeavor, and this makes him a leader. We are following the narrow field of endeavor because our leaders have not provided a new perspective. But remember, there are leaders in all fronts. Yeah, when you mention leadership, people think only of political leadership. No. There are leaders in all fronts. In the domestic front, we have leaders. In the community front, we have leaders. In corporate front, we have leaders. In the educational front, we have leaders. In public front, we have leaders. And this includes any person or group of persons who are vested with authority to lead others. When you are vested with authority of leading others, you are a leader. That brings you the problem we have, that people are not invested here with authority. They grab the authority. They steal the authority. And when you come to this, that's where you talk of atomic power of leader. A leader has atomic power because a leader, in that atomic power, he influences the minds and hearts of people. Any leader who cannot influence the minds and hearts of people cannot take that title, leadership. And in this is where parents are important. This atomic power belongs to fathers, mothers, as the first to influence the minds and hearts of the children. Priests, philosophers, teachers, writers, poets, musicians, and actors. All these have powers to influence the minds and hearts of people.
Incredible.
The governor may not have the power to influence minds and hearts, except he now becomes a leader. And that is why I said the leader is a father. You see?
Yeah.
The leader is a father. The leader is a protector. When you bring this fatherhood and the protectorhood of the leader, you see the true meaning of a leader. And that is why a leader emphasizes innovation above all else, unlike a manager who is more concerned about setting and achieving lofty goals in the enterprise of his corporate business. The leader does not do that. A leader, again, often operates fairly independently because he has something here. Because that allows him to tolerate a greater amount of chaos so long as he believes it will be worth in the end. These are the things we look for in leaders. Leaders sometimes can be singularly focused on achieving lofty goals that they let interpersonal issues come in.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether we have such opportunities here. This is my concept of leader and leadership. And if you read the book, this book attracted you.
Yeah, it did. And frankly speaking, it's amazing. And in that book, you contended that those who are ruling us now, use the power they acquire by means to lead us astray. And consequently, you proposed, the search for leaders who will understand that a leader, like you said, is a father and protector. Hence, any leader who cannot protect his subject is not worth the honor and the name. So how may we get such a leader as we approach the 2023 general elections in Nigeria?
If you read the book, The Laws of Kings by Maimonides, he holds that the purpose and intent of a true leader shall be to elevate mankind's faith and to fill the world with justice. So if you are searching for a leader, and we take this proposal, which means we are going to look for someone who will elevate mankind's faith. And secondly, lead us to justice. How many of our leaders are first of all faithful to themselves, faithful to God, faithful to their position, and faithful to their calling? Because they are not leaders, that's why they are not faithful. To elevate mankind's faith and bring justice. If we go into that, justice, go back to the Nicomachean Ethics of Aristotle, book 1, chapter 5, discussing justice. And when we bring it down here, justice is akampumoto. Akakuoto. That is justice. We don't just have to look at it from the English viewpoint and English definition. We come back to culture. It's akakumoto, akakuoto. That is justice. How many of the people leading us can say akakuoto? How many of our leaders in the communities, local government, state, federal, leadership of all sorts, as I mentioned, in various fronts, how many of them now can say akampuoto? That is why your question now means we are going to look for someone. My listeners may not understand this akampuoto.
Yeah,
but take it as justice. It is on this basis that the need for a leader arises, because a leader provides new perspectives, inspiring us to, as I said before, inspiring us to abandon the narrow field of vision. And when we are preoccupied with petty things, our petty or great interests, a leader sends out a wake-up call, alarming us to seek the true priorities in life. There are scales and levels of priorities. A leader calls our attention to the highest priorities. And this sense of urgency is just as important as a leader in his vision. This is why the three qualities of a leader must be there. One, a leader must love the people, loving the people. A leader manifests clear character, and a leader abides in the highest good. These are the three most important qualities of a leader. Loving the people. If we bring that, do our leaders love us? Our leaders want us dead today and tomorrow. For whatever reason, I don't know. Those ruling us, I won't say leading us, because if they're leading us to hell. Those leading us now, do they love the people as the most important quality of a leader? Loving the people. Two, manifesting clear character. How many of them have character? And you're talking of clear character. And 3, abiding in the highest good. Not just good. Do the people leading us know what good means? And then you're talking of the highest good. And when somebody lacks these 3 things, and you say he's a leader, that is where I differ. And that is why leadership today is sorely lacking the quality of urgency. Many of our leaders are effective managers, and some are even inspirational speakers, but are not leaders in the true sense. An inspirational speaker is not a leader. That's why you see people, they invite you, come and give inspirational talks here and there, misleading the people, because some of those things you're talking cannot be realized. We have governors, we have lawmakers, we have political pundits, CEOs, who can direct thousands of people towards a single objective, and politicians whose rhetoric inspires millions of citizens to support them, but their leadership quality is infected with hostile leprosy.
That's a strong word.
Yes, let it be. Because this is what we are seeing, that is where we are suffering. Because of the hostile leprosy that has infected the people you say are leading us. Their mental leprosy.
Isn't that too harsh?
For what? Let's go to hospital and examine them. You know, there's an aspect of psychology that deals with leadership. When you are drunk with power, there's a psychological name, I will remember it. And that is what is happening with our leaders.
Would it be megalomania?
Whatever I call it, you are the one that said it. What these leaders do not provide is simple and essential, a vision of life itself. Our so-called leaders have not provided a vision for life. Genuine leadership must give people a long-term vision that imbues their lives with meaning. Look at the meaninglessness we find everywhere. People have no meaning. We don't see meaning in anything. It's just the way to live, because the leaders have not conducted us to see and imbue our lives with meaning. And so we are looking for a new direction, looking for a way to show us the actions that will lead us to purposeful goal. We don't have it yet.
Very true.
The leader inspires his followers to change and improve in a meaningful way. You say, instead of improving, we are going back. The leader creates a compelling sense of urgency to fulfill the vision of life. Life has a vision. You have a vision for your life. The country should have a vision for the people. And I think this is why your question, how we may get such a leader as we approach 2023 general election.
Yes, Prof.
So, if I ask you a question and you're asking me a pertinent question, how are leaders chosen? You may not answer that question, but that's to answer your question. How are leaders chosen? Who prepares them for leadership position? Have we asked the question of how leaders are chosen here in Nigeria?
I think to presume is via election.
Is the election free and fair? And that is why unqualified people have been emerging, because we don't have a free and fair election. From the first election in Nigeria, it was never free and fair. Manipulations. So this is the time to ask ourselves, how are leaders chosen? Who prepares these leaders Leaders are called, and from that calling, they are chosen. 2, leaders need affirmation. The leaders we have who affirmed them is all controversy everywhere. The affirmation of those leaders are born with controversies. Being called, leaders in turn call followers. When the leader is called, he now calls followers. Leaders, again, lead and teach with authority. The leaders we have today teach with authority. The leaders in the states are not even in those states, they're in Abuja. Yeah, so how can they reach their people with that authority? Either they're afraid and they're running away from their people. Leaders take care of their people, for sure. And if we ask the question again, are leaders taking care of us? And leadership requires discipline. And you know very well like me that most of our leaders are rascals. They're not disciplined. Have you asked the question whether our leaders take drugs? And anybody who takes drugs, is that person disciplined?
No.
That person is not disciplined. That's the question, because the way they the way they act like rascals make us question whether today people take power by force. People take power by force. And if tested, the grounds for rejection is established for lack of integrity, because our leaders lack integrity. Relevance, they lack relevance, and they lack authenticity. And when somebody lacks integrity, lacks relevance, lacks authenticity, how can you claim to be a leader? In this 21st century, our so-called leaders have forgotten that they are called to serve. And service is the tested ground for an authentic leader. Do our leaders serve us? No. Rather, they exploit us, and we serve them. A leader cannot serve if he is not a leader. Who cannot serve is not only useless, but positively dangerous to his people. A leader who cannot serve is not only useless, but positively dangerous to his people. What do we have today? The greatest leader in the history of humanity preached the gospel of action. Action.
And who is that?
You know as well as I do, the greatest leader, Christ. Most leaders claim to be Christians. Do they act in the manner of Christ? Those who are not Christians are Muslims. Do they act in the manner of Muhammad? Some time ago, people were being killed because they profaned this or that. But go to read the Quran. Even Muhammad asked them to forgive such people. Why are we not following the examples of our religious founders? People fall into a common delusion and mistake in thinking that the number one of a country or state or locality or company is a leader. No. But experience in the past 100 years, you see, there's a degeneration of leadership. Proves this general trend of thought to be erroneous. Good or bad, leadership is defined by quality deployed or displayed by the leader while in a position of leadership and authority. And these qualities in turn define the policies, the words, and the deeds of the leader.
So let me dive right in. You've already mentioned the qualities and the beautiful attributes of leadership. So, and you have advocated over the years for the grooming of responsible leadership. So, in practical terms, how can this be realized?
In practical terms, it's by grooming. We can fish up those who have been tested in both small and big offices and see the integrity. Those ones need to be groomed. But the general problem is that those who are supposed to groom others have lost their way. Yeah. Those who are supposed to lead have lost their way, the way of leadership. So what are we going to do? You tell me that the youth have done this, the youth are bad. Those who are supposed to lead have lost their own way. Where are we leading them to? It's a directionlessness of this age that is destroying us. In which direction are we moving? Nobody knows. That's why I qualify this directionlessness of the age. And those who are supposed to direct the young ones have lost their own direction. Except a few, and they are silent, they are qualitative, you can't easily find them. That is why we have to go for a search for a leader. Search. Many of the people coming around and say, vote for me, do this, they give you money. Are they leaders? How will a leader cheat from the onset? When we look at the background of some of the people coming to occupy leadership position, you wonder whether they have sense of decency and sense of integrity at all. That's a big question, a big problem. We must seek and search for a leader come 2023. We will get one. I'm optimistic.
Thank you. And on that optimism, you seem to be pessimistic on the other hand when you describe Nigeria as a collapsing country. And perhaps you say that perhaps may require a revolution to get the desired leadership change. So can you explain what you mean by revolution?
Yeah, thank you. When we use the term revolution, many people think it's negative, warfare, that kind of a thing. If you read the book of Albert Camus, The Rebel, it says to say no is to rebel. Just the word no is to rebel. It does not mean carrying guns, does not mean killing. No will tell the person who receives the answer to look at that circumstance again. And here, when you say no to people, they got offended, as if people are goats and cows that will just follow them. You can be more intelligent than your leader, but does your leader recognize that you're more intelligent? Our leaders feel that they know everything and that they are gods, and that is why they fell. That's why they fell. And that failure has led us to where we are now. It has led us to where we are now. Yeah, so you can describe Nigeria as a collapsing country.
Yeah.
And as you said, may require revolution. That is to say no to what has been happening. That's what I mean by revolution. And to say no to what is happening is to evolve new methods. The way to solve it is to evolve new methods, saying no to the old, revolting against the old. And how do we do that? By evolving a new method. So we must, by all means, say no to the existing culture of violence, existing culture of stealing, existing culture of looting, existing culture of selfishness, hatred, ignorance, killing. That is the no we have to say. They cannot continue. We have a better option, and that better option is to evolve a new method, so that everybody will imbibe this new method. But some people think that they have a monopoly of violence. We are not going into that. We don't advocate violence at all. What I mean is revolting from the negative to evolve a culture of 3 underlying dimensions of leadership character. And those 3: universalism, transformation, and benevolence. This underline the leadership character. Universalism, transformation, benevolence. That's the evolution I'm talking about. And when this comes, it will say no. If you want a little of it, universalism is the outward expression of leadership character, which is represented in understanding, appreciation, and tolerance. That is the universalism. If any leader cannot accept that, then transformation is the second main factor, dimension of leadership character. Its concern is how leaders achieve universal and benevolence outcome. Our leaders don't think this way. How can a leader bring about that universal and benevolent outcome? So the transformational leader with the character have, first of all, courage, passion, wisdom, competence, and self-discipline. That will give the transformational. And then the third, which is benevolence. Benevolence. Ben is good. Volence is will, goodwill. A leader must possess goodwill. Look at what happens in states. More of bad will for your own people. Look at what happens in the country. Bad will for the people. Goodwill. Having the disposition to do good. At this level of leadership, you have more opportunities of doing good. There are more opportunities of doing good for the president, for the ministers, for the governors, for local government chairmen, whatever. Meant politically, you have more opportunity of doing good. That is the benevolence. Benevolence is a micro approach to everything for the welfare of others. How many of our leaders, imagine when we were in trouble with COVID-19, those things that were brought to cushion the effect, those who are leading us, where are they? Where are those things? People and companies and groups donated billions. Where are they? Because those leading us do not have the goodwill. A leader must conceptualize the purpose and mission of the people. Do our leaders know our mission and our purpose? A leader must be sensitive to others' concerns and their overall well-being. A leader must always put his followers before himself. What do these people want? Imagine when Christ was teaching, people will be there, he said, I pity these people. Go and find something for them to eat. The ones we have now will even take the ones we have and add to what they have. most leaders don't even behave ethically. They don't behave ethically. How ethical are our leaders? And the leader must be known for his ethical life, must focus on creating values for the people. Creating values. And this can be done by encouraging followers to also become selfless servant leaders and help others accomplish that good.
Beautiful. Let me ask a personal question. On your birthday, which you celebrated, some of your mentees, recounted how you fought the war against cultism in the university system, and the way you deployed matchless wisdom, up-to-date technological knowledge, skills, counseling, networking, and you always emphasize that grooming of proteges and skill development to help you to develop and achieve their goals. So how has your journey been so far, and what do you look forward to in the coming years?
It's a very difficult personal question. There are about 2 or 3 questions in one question there.
Yeah.
Let me just take them. The first is the war, or what you call a fight or war against cultism. I didn't fight. I tried to rescue those who were trapped. Some of the young boys and girls were trapped. They were not useful again to themselves, almost abandoning their studies to follow the dictates of those groups. So I pitied them and said, no, these young boys and girls are here for a purpose. Let's rescue them. So I started that fight of rescuing those people, and people called it. And that time I was the chaplain. So I used that platform to help as many as possible. And actually, hundreds of them were redirected, and they gained themselves again. They became human beings. They had orientation from the frauds of losing humanity, losing themselves, losing who they are. But I'm happy some of them, or many of them, came back to be who they are, graduated. Now, when some of them see me, they say, Father, if you didn't do that, where would we be? So that's the way I look at it. I didn't fight, I was rescuing them. Secondly, talking of my up-to-date technological knowledge, you have the knowledge better than me. But those of us who studied outside, you needed at that time, even in the 80s, to be using computers. In the 80s, we were doing everything in Europe with computers. So from that time, I cued into using these various aspects of technology to do my work. Keeping up to date can be tricky, as you know, but staying on top of the new technologies, shaping your endeavors is essential for driving innovations, accomplishing goals, and remaining competitive. That's what we do. Any office I'm working, I try to modernize it by using the technologies, and that also eliminates all sorts of fraud. Many innovation teams struggle to bridge the gap between challenge and impactful solutions. So I do that, I go into it so that the solutions can be impactful on the people and the system. And without timely and relevant insights, it can be hard to bring new ideas to the table and fresh perspectives to the team's existing knowledge. I do what I do in technology to be able to meet up with the many types of jobs. But then, despite the fact that technology education is very tricky, lacks a clear definition. You don't know that. It lacks a clear definition and clearly defined knowledge base. Yeah, that's what we can discuss later. But in as much as we can, all we engage in, office productivity, security system, computers and networks, phone systems, and more, are impacted by technology now.
Yeah.
That's why the positive use of it will enhance everything we're doing. Your third question there is youth development goals.
Yeah.
This is very important. How I wish more people will be passionate in youth development goals, what I call YDG, to establish a common platform for collaboration and knowledge sharing so that our efforts will lead to broader shared progress in the area of most important to the development of youth. When you ask many people, especially those in authority, they'll complain about the youth. But the money provided for the improvement of the youth are embezzled. Why? And we complain about them. I tell people that the young people are good, but they need direction. The young people are good. When you approach them, I've spent all my life with young people, being in the university system for over 33 years. The youth are good, I can tell you, but they need direction. I said earlier, those who are to direct them have lost their own direction. So who will they follow? The people who are to direct you don't have a direction. And that's what I called directionlessness of the age. Only few people can still find the direction and navigate through it. So to work in conjunction with schools, parents, churches, corporations, and community in creating future leaders begins now with the youth. Team mentoring and training programs must also be established because it will create lifelong lasting relationships and giving us a long-term result. It will help us assist the youth becoming responsible, becoming productive, becoming successful adults through competitive, holistic programs. Where are those programs? We can establish those programs.
Yeah, and like I was proposing earlier, you having a leadership series as an expert in the field you are.
Yeah, we can have a leadership series talking to our youth, but also how many of them will listen. It doesn't matter if 1 or 2 or 3 listens and we get them. After some time, you see, they will help us. The 3 will help us get other 3 each, and then the 14 or 15 will help us get others again. So we will be able to do that, and I'm happy you are bringing it up. So let me give you that responsibility of creating that youth series. We will get others who will also talk to the youth and developing them. But a lot is required because it's not just 1 hour talk and you go. It's mentorship. Mentorship. And it's the person who mentored me after 15 years said, I will now teach you. Young people think that mentorship is just 1 or 2 year program. After 15 years, my mentor said, I will now teach you. The mentor will have to empty himself into the mentee. You develop yourself and develop what your mentor is giving. So that's not an easy thing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prof, for honoring our interview today. And I found the wisdom you shared incredible, and our audience equally see it that way when they watch this video. So this is Sapitas Show, where we interview everyday heroes and give the opportunity to share their challenges, trials and triumphs in a way that positively impact our world. And we are honored to interview Professor Ogbonna. So today, people are looking for this book. So how might they get it? The Art of Leadership.
Through you.
Okay.
Yeah, you market it if you like.
Oh, beautiful.
The remaining copies.
Okay, beautiful. So if you want to get a copy of this book, put your comment in the session and I will send you a copy of it, no matter part of the country you are in. Do well to like, share, subscribe and comment on this video. So Prof, say bye to our fans.
Yeah, thank you for being there with us and for us. We love the youth and we will mentor them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof.